A very good morning to all of you. So, welcome to today's object-oriented class, object-oriented concept class. In this class, we'll be discussing about what actually is an exception and how we can handle that exception if it is going to occur in the program. Right? So, basically, whenever we are executing the programs, there are possibilities that there will be some errors or issues in the program, and those issues will be occurring during the execution of the programs, and such exceptional situations or such erroneous conditions are called as exceptions. And those exceptions, if they are not handled in the program, what is going to happen, and if the exception handled are handled properly, then what is going to happen, all those things we'll be discussing in the today's class. So what actually is an exception? A Java exception is nothing but an object. It is basically an object, and that is going to describe the error or exception that has occurred in the program. So it is an object that is going to describe the exceptional, or that is an error condition that has occurred in a program, that has occurred or that has taken place in a piece of code. That is called as exception. Exception means some error condition which is going to take place in the program. That means some unwanted situation. You have written the code, but that code has encountered an unwanted situation. And if we get such unwanted situations, what happens? We will see later. And whenever an exception is created, whenever an exception is going to take place or error is going to take place in the program, one object will be automatically created by the Java execution environment. One object will be created, and that object is going to represent the exception or what problem has occurred in the program, and that will be thrown in the method that has caused the error. So if there is some problem or exception, an object will be created, and that object will be having details of what actually is the problem. That problem, that object containing the problem will be created, and it will be thrown or sent to the method which has caused the exception. There is some error, and we have got an unwanted situation, and that has to be sent to the method which has caused the error. Now it is left to the method or the programmer whether to solve that problem or leave that problem as it is. If you want to solve that problem, then that particular thing is called as exception handling. There is an error, there is an exception, you try to handle that, or handling in the sense we try to solve that exception. So that particular mechanism is called as exception handling. There is an erroneous condition or situation which we cannot avoid. Sometimes there will be possibilities that some errors will occur, but when such errors are there, you should write the means with which we can solve or address that particular issue. That is called as exception handling. Now, whenever in the normal flow of the program, if there is an exception, then it is usual practice or better practice to solve that exception, or exception must be caught in the sense you have to solve that exception, because exceptions are created and they will be thrown to the methods, and when that is thrown to the method, that method should catch that exception. It is like throwing the exception and catching the exception. When you catch means we will write the code to solve that particular exception or erroneous situation. So there are two ways with which exception can occur or errors can occur in the program. One is by default by the Java runtime system. That is first way. One way is the exception can occur by the Java execution runtime system itself, or they can be generated by the code what we have written. Two possibilities. An exception can occur in the code by two means, either by the Java execution environment itself, or the execution environment itself, or by the piece of code what we have written. We might have written some wrong code, and that may cause problems during the execution. In whatever case it may be, we have to write the solution, or we have to solve the exception. To deal with the exception, we basically use 5 different clauses or 5 different keywords. That is try keyword, catch, throw, throws, and finally. So these are the 5 different clauses which will be used to handle the exceptions or to solve the exceptions. To solve the exceptions. So the general each and everything we'll be discussing later in detail. So what is the general form of exception handling here is it is just a block of code. So whatever block of code is there which you want to monitor for the errors. I have written some code, some 100 lines of code, but we want to check whether that code is working properly or not. If you want to monitor that for the errors, then we'll be including that within the try block. That is try block, opening bracket, then closing bracket. So what it indicates here is we are trying to execute this block of code. We are monitoring this block of code for errors. If there is some errors in this block of code, 2 possibilities. If you want, you can solve the error or you leave the error as it is. But usually we will write the solutions for the errors. And for the every try block, there will be one corresponding catch block or catch clause. So what is the intention of catch clause here is, if there is some error within the try block, that must be caught by the catch block. That means here there is a problem and the solution for that will be written within the catch block. That means what we should do, when you are monitoring these 100 lines for the errors, when you are monitoring these 100 lines for the errors, if there is some error by chance, then what we should do? That will be written within the catch block. This will create the exception and that exception will be thrown to the catch block and that will be caught by the exception handler written within the catch block. And this is the type of the exception that has occurred and that is the object which will be received by the try block. And here in the comment it is written exception handler for the exception type 1. That means whatever lines of codes you want, you can write in that particular block. And usually we'll be having some more clauses here, because what I said here, try block, catch, throw, throws, and finally. So among these, here in this syntax, we have considered try, catch, and finally. Similarly, we can have throw and throws clause also, which we will discuss later. So what finally does here is, so basically what try does, in the try block, we'll be writing the code which we want to monitor for the errors. In the catch block, we'll be writing the handlers or solutions for the problems which may occur in the try block. And finally it is like the set of statements which will occur at the end, whether there is an error or not, whether you are going to handle the error or not. All the statements present in the finally block will execute. All the statements present in the finally block will execute. That is block of code to be executed after try block ends. That is just a set of statements which will execute at the end of the try and catch block. Now we'll be studying about these in detail one by one. Now coming to the classification of different exception types. So all the exceptions in the object-oriented concept or Java are broadly categorized into 2 types. So all are subclasses. All the exceptions are subclasses of a superclass called throwable. Superclass called throwable. The classification tree will help to understand. So throwable is a superclass for all the exceptions or errors which may occur in our Java programs. So throwable superclass has 2 subclasses. One is exception, another one is error. So in exception has again one more exception called as runtime exception. So we will be studying about these in detail one by one. Now let us see what happens if some exception is not caught. Uncaught exceptions. So what is uncaught exception means? You are trying to execute a program and it is possible that there will be some error during the execution. And whenever there is an error in the execution, you may write the solution for that, or you may not write the solution for that. But whenever there is an error, what happens? The program will stop abruptly. The program will stop abruptly. That means let us see what happens whenever some exception is not caught. Uncaught exceptions. If we are not catching the exceptions, that is uncaught exceptions. This is a sample program which is taken to illustrate the exception. But before that we go for this, I'll explain some, say, consider this sample Java program which has 1, 2, 3, so on up to 1000 lines of code. These many lines of code is written within this Java program, right? So assume at the 100th line, there is an exception here. There is an exception or error. You have written 1000 lines of Java program and there is an error at 100th line. So when will you come to know that error? During the execution of the program. During the compilation and while writing, we may not come to know about the error, but during the execution, you'll have one error at the 100th line. So whenever there is an error at the 100th line, what happens? These remaining 900 lines, lines of code, will not be executed. That means there is an exception, there is an error. If you are not writing solution for that, now whenever there is an error at the 100th line, there are two possibilities. What we can do, you can write a solution in such a way that out of these 1000 lines, if there is error in any one of the lines, that must be solved by some solution explorer. You must write one code for that. That is one possibility. Another possibility is, if you have not written any of the code, what happens? Then the program will stop abruptly. That is, program execution will stop. It will stop immediately. Program execution will stop immediately because there is an error condition in the program and we have not written solution for that. Two possibilities. One, if there is an error, you can write solution for that. If you have the solution, what happens? Then these remaining 900 lines will execute as it is. There is a error, solve it and continue with the execution. If you have not written solution for the error, or if you are not handling the exception, if you are not handling the error, what happens? These remaining 900 lines will be skipped or execution of program will stop. This is just I attempted to explain what happens if you are not solving the exception, if you are not handling the exception. During the execution, if there is an exception and if we not handle that, the program execution will stop abruptly. You may not be allowed to continue the execution. This is a sample scenario what I took for 1000 lines. In real-time applications, the program lines may be more. Then what happens? The program will stop executing without the knowledge of the user. If you are not written proper handlers, it will be difficult for us to track where actually the error was and which piece of code has caused the error. So that is the issue which is going to take place whenever we are not going to handle the exception. If you are not handling the exception, so it is desirable that we should handle the exception. We should take care of the errors in the program. Now let us take this sample program. This is a sample Java program. This is a sample Java program which has an exception or an error. So what is the name of the class here? exe0 is the name of the class. Opening bracket of the class and closing bracket of the class. Within this class, we have the main function. That is public static void main, which we know all these keywords. Then this is what is the command line arguments. Till now we have been writing this, but we are not using command line arguments till now. But in this class, I will be explaining you what actually is the command line argument, how we can pass command line arguments to the program. Now within the main function, we have written only two statements. First one is d is an integer variable. We are declaring d as an integer variable. For that, we are assigning value as 0. That means d is a variable which has got a value of 0. Then what is in the next statement? What we are trying to do here is, for an integer variable here, we are trying to assign some arithmetic result, or we are trying to assign the result of some arithmetic expression. What is the expression at the RHS? We are trying to perform 42 divided by d. D is what? D is 0. 42 divided by 0. Is it allowed in mathematics? Can someone respond? Can a number be divided by 0 in the mathematics? What is the meaning of dividing a number by 0?
Infinity,
Yes?
sir.
Yeah, infinite. That is not defined. That means it is not desirable in mathematics. It is not desirable. If you try to divide any number by 0, that is not defined for us. That is not defined. Or in other words, in terms of syntax of the program, that is not allowed for us. That is not allowed. It is not allowed for us to divide any number by the 0. And this is one example for the exception. You have written the code and you don't know when this d will get 0. And whenever the d is getting 0, you are trying to divide that number. Which number? 42. You are trying to divide 42 by 0, which is an erroneous situation or exceptional condition or error condition within the program. There is an error, but we are not writing any solution for this. So let us write only such simple program and I'll show you what happens whenever there is an exception. Right? So in this program, we have the exception now. What is that exception or error that we're trying to do? We are trying to divide an integer by 0, which is not allowed. We're trying to divide an integer by 0, which is not allowed. So this is the program which is an example for uncaught exception. Exception is there, but we are not writing. Let us see, let us execute and see what happens whenever there is an error. So I'll just try to execute that program. Yes, this is the program what we have studied just now. What is that? D is a variable which has been initialized with 0, and the next statement we are trying to perform a number. We are trying to divide it by 0. This is what we are trying to do. Right now, what I'll do is I'll just compile that program with the erroneous situation. Java C exception 0.java. Enter. See here, exceptions will always occur during the execution. Compilation is successful. There is no issue with the compilation. Java. Now you can see the error. This is the program and this is the corresponding error for them. I'll just try to enlarge this. Zoom it and I'll try to show you. Right? So you can see clearly what happens whenever we are not solving or handling the exceptions. So what is the outcome whenever you run the program? What it says, exception in the thread main. Every function is called as a thread in Java, which we'll be studying later in the threads chapter. In thread main or function main. What is the type of exception? Java.language related exception. Java is a package. So Java is a package, language is a sub package, and arithmetic exception. It clearly tells the details. What type of exception has occurred? Arithmetic exception has occurred, or arithmetic error. There is an error in the program which is nothing but an arithmetic error, because you are trying to perform arithmetic operation. The complete detail, specific detail of the error will be given. What is specific detail of this error? Division by 0. What type of arithmetic exception has occurred? You are trying to divide an integer by 0, which is not allowed. And along with that, next line, if you can see what it says, it will tell clearly where the error is in the exception 0 program in the main function. That means it will also specify the source file. What is the source file? Exception 0.java is the source file. In which line the error is there? Error is present in line number 4. Error is present in line number 4. If you can see this is line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, and line number 4. In the fourth line, there is an exception, and this exception will be handled or thrown by the default handler. There is a default handler because we have not written any solution for this till now. But who has handled this? The default handler has handled this. Now in this situation, what has happened? The default handler has handled and it has thrown the exception, and the program execution will stop abruptly. Program execution will stop. Now this here you will not come to know the issue. Assume after this there are so many other lines of code. Assume these many around 100 lines of codes are there. After this division by 0 error, after this line, assume there are 1000 more lines. Then we will not be able to execute these lines. Why we are not able to execute this line? Default handler has encountered an error in this line. There is an exception in this line, and the program execution will stop in between. Now, this is what is the exception, and this is what is going to happen if you are not handling the exception. We have not handled the exception. The other possibility is you can write the immediate solution for this in the catch block, then you can execute remaining 1000 lines. Now this is what happened if you are not going to handle the exception, if you are not going to write our own solution. Now let us modify the same program by writing the exception handler for that. So how we can do that? We can use try and catch blocks. So why basically we use try block? Try clause is used to monitor the code for errors. That means code which we want to monitor for the errors will be placed within the try block. And if there are any issues, then they will be handled by the catch block. That is the very fundamental usage of try and catch block. The same program is modified, which I'll try to show it here. That is now exception 2. Exception 2.java. Class madam. Okay, what I was explaining is the same program which has been modified now by including try and catch blocks. So I'll take that program here. Right, the same program has been modified and we are trying to handle the exceptions. So in the main function, now as usual the variables are declared. Now this is the try block. What it says, this is the try block. Within the try block, we are monitoring a block of code. So if you can see what was the block of code in the earlier program, there were two statements. What are the two statements? D equal to 0 and A equal to 42 divided by D. So here D equal to 0 and A equal to 42 divided by D. This was the block of code which is going to cause the error. Now that block of code we are writing within the try block. That means we are monitoring a block of code. We are observing a block of code for errors. If there is an error, we will write the solution for that. That means we will not stop the execution of the program in between. The program execution will not stop abruptly. So whenever there is an error, this line will not be printed. See here, this line will not be printed. Why this line will not get printed? Because there is an error in this line. Line number 1, line number 2, and line number 3. We are monitoring 3 lines of code for the errors. Line number 1, absolutely okay. Line number 2, there is an error. If there is an error, what happens? The program execution will stop abruptly. That means whenever there is an exception in the try block, an object will be created and thrown in the method which has caused the exception. That means throw exception. If there is an error in the try block, then for every try block, we'll be having one corresponding catch block. Throw exception to corresponding method. Throw exception to corresponding method, or create an object of the exception and throw to the catch block. See here, what type of exception we are doing. This catch is meant for this catch block. This catch block is meant for, we are writing arithmetic exception. It is handling arithmetic exception. For one block of code, you can have multiple catch blocks. For one block of code, it is a code which can cause one type of error, arithmetic exception. Then this is the handler. If another code, that is array index out of bound exception, this is the handler. If you cause one more error, then this is the handler. That means one code can cause, if it can cause 3 types of problems, then we will be writing handler 1, handler 2 and handler 3. That means solutions or catch blocks. In other words, you can write it as catch block 1, catch block 2 and catch block 3. Now for this program, we have written one try and we have written one catch block. That means this catch is capable of handling arithmetic exception. Capable of handling arithmetic exceptions. Whenever there is an error, that arithmetic exception is sent to this. And E is an object now. E is an object which is containing details of the error. What type of error has occurred now? Arithmetic exception has occurred. Specifically, we are trying to divide 42 by 0. That is the error which has occurred in the program. Now we are trying to catch that, and what we are writing in the catch statement, we are simply printing the statement that division by 0 error has happened in the program, kindly correct it. Here, for our understanding, we have written only one line. We have written only one line, and after the try and catch block, the next statement will execute as it is. What is that? After the catch statement, the program execution will go on continuing as well. The program execution will go on continuing as well. That is the advantage of handling the exception. So there was an exception and we have handled it, and we are able to continue even after there is an exception. In earlier program, we were not able to continue. So I'll just try to explain this in this way. Program is written line number 1, 2, 3, so on up to line number 100, then line number 200, then up to 500, then 1000 lines of code. These many lines of code is written. Assume here, from here to here, somewhere from here to here, you have written try block. This is your try block. You are trying to monitor for some error. If there is an error, if you are not handling, what happens? Remaining lines will not execute. The program execution will stop. Now assume from 200 to, it will be very big, from 200 to 300, we have written the catch block. That means catch statement. We are monitoring the code here and we are writing solution for this. Now if the solution is successfully handled, then these remaining lines, what are the remaining lines? 301 to 1000, they will execute successfully. They will not stop the execution. Why? Because we are writing solution for, we are handling the exception. That's what it is happening. If you can consider, this is the only one line what we have written. That is nothing but here you can simulate to this, the remaining lines from 301 to 1000. That is after the catch statement. After the catch statement, all the remaining lines are executing. Why they are able to execute? Because we have handled the exception. Here, for our understanding purpose, we have written only one line here. But after the catch block, you can write hundreds of lines. You can go on executing the remaining lines. If this particular handler was not there, assume for example, if this handler was not there, we have seen what problem will happen in the previous example. The program execution will stop, but that we have avoided by using the catch block. So what is the meaning of catch block? For every try block, there will be corresponding catch block. And what a try block will contain? Try block will contain the code which you want to monitor for the errors. If there are any errors in this particular try block, that will be handled by the corresponding catch block. And for one try block, there can be more than one catch statements. That is called as multiple catch statements, which we'll study later. And this is what is going to happen if we handle the exception successfully. That means in our case, what happens when you execute the program, this error will occur, an exceptional object will be created that will be sent to the catch block, and in the catch block that exception will be solved. That means this statement will get printed. Division by 0, correct it. Catch block will execute successfully. Exception is handled. Then after the try and catch block, the next line will execute. What is the next line? After the catch statement that will execute successfully, because we have not stopped abruptly. Now let us compile and see this what happens. Exception 2.java. That is second modified program I am trying to run. Java exception 2. Enter. Yes. As you can see, that exception has been handled now. Right. So here, this is where we have solved it. What it says, the first line is division by 0 error corrected. That means if you can see in the program, whenever there is an error, this line will be skipped and the control will be transferred to the corresponding catch block to solve or handle the exception. What is happening within the catch block? One statement is being printed. What is that? Division by 0 error corrected. That means this statement will get printed. Then immediately all the remaining statements will get executed as it is. What are the remaining statements in the program? The remaining statement, we have only one statement. What is that? After catch statement. And that statement is getting printed here. So that is the advantage of handling the exception. So we have seen what is an exception, what is the try block, and what is the catch block. And we have also seen what happens if we don't handle the exception. So that is how we use the try and catch block. And you should always know that a try and catch statement will always form a unit. That is called as one single unit. For every try, you should have one corresponding catch block. Right. Now, see whenever you are handling the exception, we may also display the details of the exception, which I'll explain in the remaining further programs. Like if there is an exception, we can also display details by using this particular details present within the object. Now, multiple catch clauses. As I said, a single code can cause more than one type of error. A single code can cause more than one type of error. So that is called as multiple exceptions, or multiple errors can be caused by a single block of code. That means one code can cause more than one type of error. In such situation, we should write multiple catch clauses. That means one code can cause exception 1 or exception 2 or exception 3. That means one try block can create multiple exceptions. That means you should have multiple catch clauses. Catch, for catch, and catch. This is possible. And this is the situation where in which we need multiple catch clauses. Multiple catch clauses. One second, we are left. I'll just stop this and restart that.